Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Baxter, and we have been talking about simplifying square roots. Today we are going to step it up a notch and we're going to talk about simplifying what we call nth roots. Okay, before we were looking at what we called square roots, right? And for example, the square root of 49 equals 7. We were looking for pairs, so two of a kind. Well, you'll notice that there's no index right here, right? There's no index in that upper little corner to indicate that it's a 2 or a squared, okay? That is just an automatic assumption when you have the radical sign, okay? All right, so today we're going to start looking at index numbers that are greater than 2. And when I say index numbers, this is an index, okay? And so let's talk about what that looks like. Well, you're going to be using the information in this box right here in order to find and split out and simplify your radical with an nth root, okay? Instead of right here, well, first of all, you're going to find the prime factorization. You're going to find the factorization of the number under the radical. So you're still going to do your factor tree using your cheat sheet to find your prime numbers, okay? But step number 2 says, instead of looking for pairs, the index right here is going to tell you the size of the grouping that you are looking for. That's really important, okay? For every grouping of common numbers, you're going to bring one out front of the radical and cross off the others or underline the others, the leftovers, okay? Any number that remains under the radical gets multiplied back together, and then any numbers move out from the front get also multiplied together. So you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a minute. We're just adding one extra little step, and it's something that you just need to pay attention to. All right, so let's look at our first example. Right here, it says 3 square root, our index of 3, square root of 24. Well, the very first thing we're supposed to do is we're supposed to split this out. So using your cheat sheet, let's figure this out. All right, well, I know I can divide by 2 and 12, 2 and 6, and 2 and 3. Okay, but this time I'm now going to be looking for 3 of a kind, and I'm looking right here and I go, oh, woohoo, I have 3 2s, and I'm left over with a 3 underneath, okay? So what ends up happening is I can only bring one grouping of 2 outside. I have my radicand sign, and then I now have to make sure that I put that index number in a teeny tiny little notation up in the upper left corner of the radical sign, and then because I have a 3 left over, that goes in the center, okay? So then this is your answer for number 1. Okay, let's look at problem number 2 now. Whoops. All right, so in this instance, we are looking at our index number first, and this index number is telling me that we need to be looking for 3 of a kind, okay? Now, normally, we cannot do a square root of a negative number, but because we're looking for 3 of a kind, we can simplify this problem. Knowing that you guys are getting really good at this, think for a second, what am I going to be dividing this number by? Well, if you said 5, you would be correct. So if we take 875 and divide that by 5, I'm going to get 175. And then again, I see a 5 here, so I'm going to divide that again by 5. And I've got 5 and 35. And again, I see a 5, so I'm going to divide by 5. And I'm going to get 7. Well, the lovely thing I'm seeing here is I have 3 5s in a group, and I'm left over with 7. So how we're going to write this is we're going to say one group of 5 goes outside. Now don't forget your little 3, and 7 is on the inside. Okay, here's our answer for number 2. Okay, let's keep looking. Now we have something unusual. I've got a new thing here. This is now telling me I need to look for groups of 4. And with this one, we also have variables. So we've got multiple things going on. Take your time, be very methodical, okay? Do not rush through this process. Okay, let's do our numbers first. Now, I see that this is an even number, so I'm going to go ahead and just divide by 2 first, and I'm going to get 2 and 48, and then 2 and 24, 2 and 12, 2 and 6, and then 2 and 3. Now I'm going to look for 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's circle those. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 of those that can come outside. Well, I've got one group that can come out. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of room on outside just to see, and then I'm left with 2 and 3 on the inside. Okay, now let's look at our x's. I'm going to go x times x times x times x. How many are there? 8, so I'm just going to put them in 2 rows here. Okay, which is nice because I have a group of 4 here and a group of 4 here. So now I have 2 groups, right? And so I have 2 x's that come out, and I have no leftovers, so nothing gets put on the inside. Now let's look at my y times y times y times y. Oh, well, I have one group, right? And one group comes outside. I have no leftovers. Now I have to just simplify my 2 times 3. So my final answer is going to be 2x squared y square root 6. Okay, if you have a question, just let me know. But hopefully this is starting to make sense. Okay, let's do a couple more. Okay, this one, look, we're getting bigger and bigger. Look at that. We're looking for what's our index. If you said 5, you would be correct. Okay, so now let's split this out. How we know how to do it, it's going to be 64 divided by 2. I've got an even number, so 60. You know what I'm going to do? Hold on. Oops. 2 divided by 64 is, actually I want to do a different color. 2 divided by 64 is 32. Divided by 2 is 16. Divided by 2 is 8. Divided by 2 is 4. Divided by 2 and 2. Now, remember, this 4, a lot of you guys sometimes forget that we can keep breaking that down. Keep going till you hit 2, 3, 5, any of those prime numbers. Okay, now in this instance, I know that a lot of you guys know that when we get to here, 16, you're like, oh, I could split that into 4 and 4. Well, remember, we are looking for a index number of 5, so I need 5 of the same numbers, and if I do 4 and 4, that kind of messes it up. So break it all the way down when you've got an index greater than 2. Okay, so now I'm looking for 5. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here, and I've got 2 left over. So I have one group of 2 that comes outside. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of room, and I've got 2 inside. I'm looking at my A, and I automatically know, well, there's no A that can, I don't have 5 A's, so that's going to stay inside. And my B, oh, look at that. I have 5 of them, so I automatically know I'm just going to bring a whole group out. So this is my final answer to B. Oh, look what I forgot. To the 5th root of 2A. Okay. Hopefully you got that. If you do not understand or you have questions for me, please stop the video and come see me, or ask me in class when you get a chance, okay? All right, last but certainly not least, we got to remember how to do this little one. We've added on one little extra thing. All right, this time we are looking for 3 of a kind, okay? But now don't forget, we have this out here, okay? So we're gonna leave that alone for right now while we solve the inside first. Okay, so let's do, give me a second here. Let's split out 448. Okay, now I know this is a big number. Do not let it scare you. 8 is an even number, so we can divide this by 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that way. 2 and 224. 2 and 112, 2 and 56, 2 and 28, 2, woohoo, and 14, and then I know 2 and 7. All right, I know that's a lot of 2s, but let's group them together by 3s. I've got one group here, and I've got another group here, and I've got 7 left over. Okay, now when I'm looking at my X's, so let's do this first. Let's put, I have a -3, right, times one group of 2 times another group of 2s. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra for my X and Y's in case I have those. And I have a 7 left over on the inside. And I'm going to remember this little guy. Okay, now if I do my X's, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to circle my groups of 3. And look at that. I have 2 left over. So I'm going to have 2 groups of X come out, and I'm going to have 2 X's left over. Then let's look at my Y's. My Y's, ooh, I don't have a group of Y's that can come out, so I'm just left with Y squared on the inside. So now I have to go in and simplify. Let's simplify this first, and I have -3 times 2 is 6 times 2 is -12 X squared cube root of 7X squared Y squared. All right, that was a really, really long one, but if you followed through that and were able to, see how we did that, then I think you guys are doing awesome and great. It'll be fine. All right, now these 2 at the bottom, I want you to try them, okay? I'm gonna pause my video, try them, and then come back to the video and see if you got the right answers, okay? Hi guys. Okay, so hopefully you figured out this first problem. One of the tricks is, I know it's a lot of 20, you've got 20 X's to write. So something to keep in mind is that you can always divide 20 by 6 and find out what that equals. It's gonna be 18 point something. And a lot of times I'll go 18 and then how many more till I get to 20? I have 2. So you'll see that I did 18 divided by 6 is 3, and I had a remainder of 2 left over. So you will see I had 3 groups come out and 2 groups stay in, okay? So if you need help with this one, please let me know. This is a really, really tricky one. If you got it, awesome job. But if you made a mistake, it's okay, because I'm hoping that you found a new strategy after listening to my answer. Okay, now go to problem number 2, see if you can solve that, and then come back and check your answer. Okay, hopefully you finished number 2 and did great with this. Again, we did a little bit of dividing here where if you look right here, hold on. Okay, if you look right here, so you got your X's, right? We have one group come out. Oh, look what I forgot, you guys. I'm just noticing this now. All right, this needs to have a little 3 up here. So I find one group of 3, right? Here, if you take 15, and you divide it by the 3, your index number, you get 5. So this is where I've got Y is 5. And then again, I did that with 20, where I did 20 divided by 3, which is equal to 18. And then what you need to do is 18, 19, 20. There's a remainder of 2. So you have 6 right here with a remainder of 2 outside, okay? Or inside, sorry. Okay, so once you're done with this, go ahead and grab the homework. Start out doing just the odd numbers, check your work, and then if we have time, we'll continue on with the even numbers so you get more practice with index numbers.